Hey guys, so today we're going to go over the executive branch of Texas. This is pretty complicated, so we're going to break this down into its base parts. It's set up in Article 4 of the Texas State Constitution, Sections 1 and 2, and we are going to focus on the current Constitution with the current executive because it's changed a lot. Each time that we've written a new Constitution for the state, we have had a different kind of executive branch. Things have changed. The first one in 1836, when we were actually our own country, that's when we elected Sam Houston as the president of the country, the Republic of Texas. Now, we're going to go from the 1876 Constitution forward. That's the one that we got after Reconstruction. It's the one that we still deal with today. And we have something called a plural executive system. And that's where the executive power is divided amongst multiple elected officials as well as some appointed officials. Texas at the time of doing this had no trust for big government, so they created a very weak governing system for the state of Texas that we are still using today. Of those positions, we have the governor, lieutenant governor, and attorney general, commissioner of General Land Office, the Commissioner of Agriculture. All those people are elected every 4 years. We also have the Texas Railroad Commission. There are 3 members. They are elected every 2 years. They serve 6-year terms, so those are staggered. And then we have the State Board of Education, made up of 15 members, and those elections are staggered out every 4 years. Let's talk about these people a little bit. Currently, our governor is Greg Abbott. He is the 48th governor of the state of Texas. He served on the Texas Supreme Court from 91 to 2001, the Texas Attorney General of 2002 to 2015. In 2015, he was elected governor. He's been the governor from 2015 until now. Now, he has appointment powers. He's the commander-in-chief. He has pardoning powers, veto powers. He can call special sessions like he did last summer. And then you have message powers, essentially just the power to reach out to the people of Texas. Our lieutenant governor currently is Dan Patrick, and he has been the lieutenant governor from 2015 until now. He was a Texas senator from District 7 from 2000 to 2006, and he served in the Texas Senate from 2007 to 2015. Now, what this lieutenant governor does, he presides over the Senate. He is the president of the Senate, the Texas State Senate. He co-chairs legislative budget boards, redistricting. He succeeds the governor if something were to happen to him, and he's on several different boards and committees. Now let's talk about Ken Paxton. Ken Paxton is the current Attorney General. He served in the House of Representatives from 2003 to 2013 in the Texas Senate. He was a member of the border security, election integrity, religious freedom, human trafficking enforcement, all the things that he really pushes for in his time in office. Now, he comes with baggage. So in 2015, he was indicted on securities fraud charges. His trial is actually still pending as of 2025, but he was impeached in 2023 and he was acquitted by the Senate, which is why he is still in office. Now, currently, Ken Paxton is running for Senate, so he will probably not hold that position after the midterm elections come into play. Now, the Commissioner of General Land Office, that guy's name is Don Buckingham. They've been in office since 2023. Now, before that, they were in the Texas State Senate from 2017 to 2023. It's the first woman ever to hold this position in the entire history of Texas. So what do? Well, they manage public lands, energy and mineral leases, veterans programs, coastal management, historical things, and disaster recovery. Now, the Commissioner of Agriculture is Sidney Miller, and they've also been in office from 2015 until now. Before that, they served in the Texas House of Representatives. If you're starting to see a pattern, that's normal. Farm Fresh initiatives are what they've been pushing for that promotes farm-to-school programs. Operation Maverick, enforcing consumer protection laws for commercial sales, and credit card skimmer prevention. Those have all been big things for the Commissioner of Agriculture. So one of the most interesting things the Commissioner of Agriculture actually does is deal with gas and grocery prices. When you get your gas, it gives you a gallon of gas. When you buy a pound of beef, you get a pound of beef. Part of the Commissioner of Agriculture's job is to make sure that those weights and measures are correct so that your gallon of gas is actually a gallon and your groceries are actually the weight that they're supposed to be. Right? They also run food and nutrition programs, promotion of agriculture, and rural development. Now, the Texas Railroad Commission, remember there's 3 people in there: Chris Craddock, Wayne Christian, and Jim Wright. And they have been in there from 2012, 2017, and lastly, Jim Wright, who was elected in 2021 and is still in office. Now, with the name Texas Railroad Commission, you may think that this has something to do with the railroad. However, it has nothing to do with the railroad at all. What they regulate is oil and gas, pipeline safety, utilities, surface mining and reclamation, and geothermal and alternative energies. So they generally deal with the energy sector, not necessarily the railroad in any real shape, way, or form. Now, the State Board of Education, again, made up of 15 members, so I'm not going to go through and read all of those names off to you. If you would like to know those, you can ask me or you can look them up, but I won't be testing on any of those throughout the semester. But what does the State Board of Education do? They set curriculum, they buy textbooks, and interestingly enough, Texas buys so many textbooks when we get our textbooks approved that it actually affects the textbooks that other states end up using, because Texas buys so many that it can sometimes lower the price, and then other states will end up getting the same textbooks that we get. Now, they set up oversight for school funding, accreditation and accountability for those schools, and charter school authorizations all come through them. So what are our appointed positions in the state? Well, we have the Secretary of State, that's Jane Nelson. We have the Texas State Board of Education, the Texas Senate that oversees statewide elections. They provide guidance and support to county elected officials, maintain official election results, enforce election laws, and they work to ensure voter access and election integrity. Right? We have the Adjunct General, Commissioner of State Agencies, Health and Human Services Commissioners, the Texas Department of Transportation, Executive Director, Texas Education Commission of Education, Texas Department of Public Safety, Texas Parks and Wildlife Department Executive Director, all kinds of things set up, really making this thing as convoluted as possible. Because remember, when this was made, they did not trust the government in Texas. That's why we have spread this power out so much that even inside our executive branch, it does not get centralized with one single person. Now, there are ways that the executive branch can still be kept under control by other branches of government, right? And other ways that they keep them in check as well, and that's called checks and balances. Now, the executive branch through the governor has the power of the veto, right? And the veto can be overturned just like with the federal government with a 3/4 vote in the Texas state legislature, and they can push something through even if the governor doesn't want them to. There's judicial overview where members of the legislature can call members of the executive in and ask them questions and make sure things are going the way that they're supposed to. And if they're not, the legislative branch, like they did with Ken Paxton, has the ability to impeach them. However, they're impeached in the House and they have to be removed by the Senate. So if the Senate looks at an impeachment and decides they don't want to do it, then that person doesn't get impeached, which in Ken Paxton's case is what happened there. Now, we have had an impeachment of a governor in the state of Texas that actually went through, but this has been a long time ago. Governor James E. Ferguson, who was also known as Pa Ferguson, he served from 1905 to 1917. He was impeached on 21 different charges. And when it finally goes through, he gets convicted of 10 of those, removed from office, and banned from ever holding state office again. Now, those charges, you may ask, what were those for? Embezzlement. He was embezzling money. He got caught. And that's pretty much the extent, the quick rundown of what's going on. Now, we have the midterm elections that are coming up, like I said, in November. So if you're 18, you're registered to vote, it's very important that you do that. You may want to vote some of these people back into office. If you don't like them, you may want to go vote for someone else, but those are coming up in November. So while I've named some of the people in our executive branch, there's a very good chance that at least some of those names are going to change later this year. Okay, I tried to make this as quick as possible. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I will talk to you guys next week.